Hey, this is Alan, the Motivate Ministries. Well, today we're working on a CT70. It's a short rod motor CT70. I believe it's a 74 model. But it's the first time I've ever used the TB Bolts stator kit. I don't get anything free from them or anything like that, but I do a lot of these, and it's getting hard to find enough of the old Honda stators. Most of the old Honda stators are in this condition, and unless you rewind the coils, they're not really even worth. You have to save the plate off of them, but you spend a lot more money. And these come with points, come with condensers, come with the O-ring for behind the plate, come with a new seal. So we're going to find out how these do. And for the money, they're only 50 bucks. And for the money, you can spend a lot more time playing with the old stuff, trying to check and get it going, as buying this. So we're going to find out if these actually are good and how they do on these old CT70s. We're going to go ahead and put the bottom coil in now, and pretty sure the bottom coil is the power coil. And I tried to get everything ready so we wouldn't have to do a lot of stops and starting, but I already see that I forgot to get a Phillips head. And you can see up there on the wall, I keep a couple of my handy tools right there on my bench. Pegboard's not really much of a thing anymore, but I've got the electric for my screwdrivers, and then I got all my sockets sitting right there on my bench. Got these coils, got a new condenser and everything with it, which is pretty much a necessity on all these old bikes, is to go ahead and put a new condenser in. So 50 bucks for, they look like a good set of points, but comes with a new wiper for the flywheel. Just make sure you get that in there good to keep it wiped off, so any grit that gets in there, if it's on there and your points ride up on it, it'll change your point setting. So a lot of times people set their points, and all it is this wiper pad's gone and there's some grit in there, and they're not pulling their flywheel off and cleaning the grit off of their flywheel. One thing I liked about these, it comes with brand new wires. I don't know how many stators and points I've put in these CT70s over the years, but it's been a lot of them. And when we get to setting the points, I do the points a little bit different than how a lot of people do. But I've did them for so long. I set them by when they open rather than trying to mess around with a feeler gauge or anything like some people. which if that's the way you like to do it, that's good too. But the way I do it's a lot simpler and less challenging. This is a little bit different right here. The most of these have a notch cut out on the wire going to the, and normally I'd go ahead and just cut that out to where you wouldn't have to take that nut completely off to be able to do them. But I'm going to leave this one just like it came from T-Bolt, since it's the first one that I did of theirs. Give them a full benefit of the doubt. For this price, I'd love it if these work out good, because I'd rather just put a whole new stator in one of these than I would mess around with the old ones. All your surfaces that are grounded surfaces like this on the points, make sure you clean them with contact cleaner. And you can even hit this with, if you think it's got a glaze on it, you can hit it with a little bit of sandpaper. Before I put my flywheel on, I always like to open my points up pretty much all the way, where when the flywheel goes on there, it doesn't hit my points at all, because I'm going to reset it once it's in there anyway. And don't get no hurry when you go to put these in, because you want to make sure you got this wire good and out of the way that heads to the point to where it's not rubbing on anything. You don't want to make it to where it's can move while you're riding it and it start rubbing and just cause you more aggravation. Before I solder them, I like to wrap the wires around each other like you do on a electrical wiring for a house to make sure, so when it's soldered, I don't have to worry about whether I've got a good enough connection or not. There we go. And a good soldering iron. A high quality soldering iron is always key. If you try to put these condensers in with a cheap soldering iron, by the time it gets hot, you almost ruin the condenser. A lot of these cheaper condensers, it'll be ruined before you even get to it. If you watch it, you can see it getting hot, and that solder that's on the condenser will start getting hot. All right, we're back. Fixing to put the flywheel on. It's all ready to go. We got our key slot in here for the Woodruff key that's in the crank, the side. Make sure when you're doing this, make sure you line it up, and make sure, I don't know if anybody caught this as I ended before, but I'd forgot to solder the other black wire on that goes up to here. So I went ahead and soldered that on. I just had to heat it up right here again and solder it on. But you make sure you get this lined up and you put it on there easy. It'll try to suck its way on there with the magnets, but you can like wiggle it like that, and that key will go right in there. And if you come right here in that hole, you can sort of see that. You might not be able to see it right here, but you'll be able to see that there's the keyway has the key in it. Then you take your nut. One thing I am going to show you, if none of y'all have one of these, I don't care how much you work on something or how little you work on something, this tool right here is a file for fixing threads. Especially if you're working on motorcycles, there's a lot of times where you can't get to fix the threads. And this right here, all you have to do is match it up with the right thread pattern and keep it the same angle, and you can file these threads down, and you can clean these threads up to where your nut will go on there easily, and you won't take a chance on stripping out your crank right here. Because if you strip out your crank, then you got a major problem. And there's a lot of times on motorcycles that this file comes in extremely handy. And as easy as going around it, if your threads are in bad shape, you might have to spend a little more time on it. But you go around it, and that nut will just screw right on and off. This crank right here is whatever, 40 years old. I guess it might be older than that. Or right at 40 years old. Let's see, 74? No, that's almost 50 years old, I guess. But you put it on there and wiggle it and let it fix its way in there. New fingers. Just got them yesterday. $17 millimeters. I said 17 millimeter, and it's a 14. I already had my 14 out, so doesn't take a lot to tighten that down on there. Some people will say, why don't you torque it? It's because I've did a million of these and I've never had one of these flywheels come off. But then when you're setting the points, you can come in here and see the points are right in there. And right now I got them all the way open. What I'll do is close them. And if you do right here, this little mark in the case is the mark. And if you put it right there to the T, that's top dead center where the piston's all the way up. And of course you fire before top dead center, and the flywheel turns counterclockwise. So right there's the F mark. And for y'all, I'm gonna make a mark on that. I don't generally need this because I've did so many of these. But there's a good mark right there to be able to see. And all you have to do is set these points. And they're just opening up right there. Let's see, I'm right at that fire mark. Can't really see it from where you're at, but you can look inside here and you can watch these open. And when they just open, you want them where they just open, like right there. And then when you find them open, then you can go up there and look and see where that's lined up, and you know that they're right. And that's all it takes to putting a whole new stator in and setting your points on a CT70 motor, Z50 motor, any of the ones that are pre-CDI units. So with that, I figured just share that with you, and we'll see you next time.